welcome to Sports Talk, Pro Football 2026. I'll say fourth round draft, but we're gonna leave probably around like 135, 136, somewhere around there, 150 something, right, Dwayne? Something like that. We're
Well,
gonna have a
well,
conversation in reference to the draft.
we're gonna be past 135 because
Yeah, it's gonna be about
we
150, 160.
no. The team we root for drafts at 112, 114, and 137.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a conversation. Just in draft overall, a lot going on today. The end of the draft, the signing of the free agents. So we're gonna have that conversation in reference to that, and just talk about our thoughts overall on players. Dwayne has his day three top big board. I'll put it up there in 1 second, and just the overall conversation in reference to the draft. So what's up, bro?
Man, it's a good day, man. It's a wonderful day in New Jersey. It's a wonderful day to be from Union, New Jersey. One of our very own former Union farmers, Davison Igbinosun, went in the second round to a team that really wanted him, man, because they traded up for him. Super proud of the kid. Put a little video up last night that was on this channel. Um, Kid's in Buffalo right now, but he took the time to respond to the video that I put up there. Davison Igbinosun, he's going by. He's changed it up, man. I mean, I don't know if this is an Ohio State thing, but he going by IGB. And, last night he took a shot at the team I love. And I'm gonna give him a pass on that, man, because it's a good day. But my Dallas Cowboys got me a Wolverine last night with pick number 2, Jay-Sean Barham. And we got to be quick before we judge everything. Like, people was quick to run and say, oh, you got Malachi Lawrence as an edge, and now you're doubling back with Barnum as an edge. They're not playing him at edge.
See, Dwayne, and this is key, and I'm gonna give a shout out to a brother that does content as well. I'm gonna give the shout out to Okoye. Okoye jumped dead on it. Okoye knew some film. Okoye is a film guy. He's in the space. He does a lot of stuff that I really really like, and he doesn't seem to go at people on the surface. But what his thing is, as a creator, is as a content creator, and this is why I always liked him, is that let the film tell us what it is. And if you don't know a player or never seen a player, don't just assume something. So the initial thing was to just go into this player's background and just automatically see him coming off the edge. But Dwayne happens to be a Michigan fan. And in the last few years, Michigan has a lot of changes with their personnel and with their coaching and how they coach and put these players out. Everybody assumed that this player was an edge because they lined him up at edge. Dwayne, you seen the player. You seen the player before he got to Michigan, when he transferred to Michigan. So it's a great thing for you to be a part of what we do as a co-host with me, and basically, I would like to say is our real college guru. But Michigan is the team that you root for.
Yeah.
So
So
even go back. Look,
basically,
even going back to Mozzie, you told me things about Mozzie that a lot of people didn't know, and when they found out, you were like, "Well, this is what I said." And are always spot on with players, and always spot on with players that come from Michigan. So,
listen,
without further ado, bro.
this PSD that Cowboy fans have with about Michigan players, and you're talking about Taco, and you're talking about Mozzie, but you don't mention that your organization been ruined the day that they lost Jordan Lewis. Where did Jordan Lewis play? Okay, and so I know these guys got to go through a lot of players, and they got to cover a lot of players. But if you're having somebody, and I saw one of them had this guy in his top 100 players, well, then how you don't know about his time at Maryland, where he was off-ball linebacker, inside linebacker? How you don't know his first year at Michigan, he was an inside backer, and sometimes played on the strong side. He was a backer. I have no idea in this world why Michigan decided to make him an edge this year. It's not who he is. He's a middle of the field, sideline to sideline. He blitzes the A-gap. He just blitzes the A-gap. The Raiders have made a trade to the top of the fourth round here. I'm wondering if this is where Gerard McCoy goes. Because, folks, Gerard McCoy is a first-round talent that just got this knee situation. I don't think he's going to last long today. I think he's going to come off the board very, very early. I had him number one.
There's your big board. I just put that up.
Yeah, he was number one on day 2. He's number one on day 3. I'm not changing it. The talent is the talent.
So let me ask you about the kid from Michigan again, bro. But and excuse me for cutting you off. So everybody assumed because they seen him at edge, and this is the way that a lot of coaches, and I'll just say it, it's not the Micah Parsons formula, but it is the Micah Parsons formula. You take your best athlete, outside linebacker in what we would call a 4-3 or 4-4, how they run in college, or even a 5 or a 4-2-5. You take that outside off linebacker and you throw him at the edge here and there. And you see a lot of teams doing this because success always gets duplicated. It always gets copied. So when you say that this kid is really an inside backer, so is he an official? Not because there's no such thing as inside linebacker, the conventional. He's just the middle guy. So is he a guy? If you were to put him next to Overshawn, possibly next to D. Winters, possibly next to Shamar James, possibly, where he can get sideline to sideline with ease?
Here's one word that I would use. It's a couple of adjectives I would use for him. First is violent. He's a violent football player. Second, he's edgy. He's on that line of sometimes maybe losing it a little bit, where you got to be like, yo, get him off the field. He about to touch an official. He about to be in somebody's face. He is a blitzer. So when you got Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark in front of him, and they're clogging something up, and the A-gap opens up, he's coming through there, and he's coming through there hard. Pause. But he's gonna get to that quarterback with that pressure, right? He can drop into coverage. Now, I'm not saying he's a coverage linebacker. What I'm saying is he could drop into coverage on zone. Okay. You can line him up on the outside and pass rush him. But this is a heat-seeking missile. He knows how to read. He knows how to react. He knows how to attack. And so people are like, oh, Shotty said he's going to play inside linebacker. Well, yeah, he is. Because he did that for 3 years of his college career. It was just this year that Michigan put him at the edge, 2025. Prior to that, he was an off-ball linebacker. And that's what he's going to be successful at. He's a poor man, Averill Reese. He's a poor man, Averill Reese.
So I'm gonna ask you, because I know that you're one of them people that really don't get this red flag behavioral injury issue. We know that McCoy tore his knee up last year. Mm-hmm. He decided to get the surgery, rehab, and didn't play not a single down.
No. And
didn't run in the combine. People thought, okay, his numbers based upon his pro day, maybe he'll be all right. His pro day, he literally popped. Mm-hmm. The running, the moves, everything was great. Got very high marks. And then you have the medical staff where basically from what we see, no team has picked him basically because it's medical. Right, wrong, and indifferent. I know that that's something that not bothers you, but may peg you may poke you every now and then with like a little needle, because it's like, well, the last time we seen this kid play, how did he perform? The film don't lie, and at the end of the day, let him perform on the field first before y'all just don't want to put no draft stock in him. And at the end of the day, bro, and I don't want to be too long with it, it's about performance, and now y'all don't saying y'all don't want to give a financial investment
And there
or a
he is.
draft.
There he is. He's off the board. The Raiders came
Raiders
up to
got
get
him.
Gerard
Yeah.
McCoy. It's a good value. They came up to pick him. I'm glad to see the young man get picked. I hope he has a long and illustrious career. When healthy, he's the best cornerback in this draft. When healthy. And you got him at 101 in the 4th round.
Okay.
I would have loved for him to fall to 112. I was hoping he would to Dallas. But I get why the Raiders came up to get him and trade for him. He is a baller, man. He could play this game, man. You know, and I hope his knee situation comes out to be good. I think that's a real good job by John Spytek, another person from A Squared, plug to Michigan Wolverines. They look really happy with the pick. Their war room's going crazy. So
you basically got without the red flags, you basically got one of the top corners in college.
First of all, what the Raiders have done is they got 2 starting corners in this draft. They got Stucks in the 2nd round, who they could move around. He could be at nickel, he could be at free, he could be a corner, and now you add a lockdown number 1 corner if healthy. Now we got to say that he may play this year, he may play next year, but they know eventually somewhere down the line that knee is going to have to be addressed again.
Yeah, I mean, even when they show these highlights, like I said, this is the 2024-2025 season, right before he tore his ACL in January, and like literally, if outside of after his pro day, when all the medical stuff came out and he had some doctors saying he could quite possibly need another surgery down the line, he checked all the boxes. Like literally checked all the boxes. Physical, they said he could play in man. They said he could play in zone. You know, basically that boundary corner where you don't even have to roll a safety over there. Like, I know that he probably would have been a top 10 pick, and it's interesting, like you said, that the Raiders chose to take not a flyer on him. The Raiders chose to trade up in the beginning of the 4th round and basically like, look, we ain't even gonna play no games because this will be the round that everybody's gonna try to get him. So great job, like you say, great job by Spytek. And this is how you continue to build your roster, because if he's healthy, like you said, they have their quote unquote linchpin corners for the next 5-6 years.
Got 2 guys that can ball. Definitely got 2 guys that can ball. So there's some interesting people out there for Dallas. If I'm thinking about Dallas at 112, and you look at what I gave you as my top 20, I wouldn't mind seeing Kyle Lewis with the Cowboys. Definitely the one player I want, and I just know the Cowboys probably won't pull the trigger. I think Mike Washington Jr. is going to be a special running back in this league.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you say 4th round, but look what happened, man. Look at my man from Tampa Bay, Irvin. Yeah. He went in the 4th round.
Yeah.
D.D. Davis with Buffalo, he went in the 4th round as a running back. Braylon Allen of the Jets. These is all very good running back.
And let's be honest. I'm glad you brought that up, and I always got a jig with you, man, because we've been doing this for since we could remember. You know, basically since 6th grade, and this is a conversation. One thing about our show, bro, is our shows will never get too serious, where we're just talking to a camera. No, our shows is Dwayne and myself. You guys that may watch the replay or the chat. Our shows will always be catered to what me and Dwayne will talk about on the phone, literally. And I have to jig with them, you guys. You know why? Because when Braylon Edwards was drafted, when Irvin was drafted, the Cowboys decided to go get Marius Louis-Fowl. And Dwayne was not pissed. And Dwayne was not pissed because Marius Louis-Fowl, if you've watched his career, is the exact same player that Dwayne said he was. with his hair. He's going to run, get to the play like his hair's on fire. Everybody's going to have this nostalgic Troy Polamalu look. But at the end of the day, Maris Luafau doesn't finish plays. And if you look at the Cowboys roster now, after two coordinators later, Maris Luafau is on the outs. They say he's going to be an outside rusher, but let's be honest, he'd be lucky if he makes the roster.
Yeah. Like he's a special teams demon because he flies all over the place. And the special teams, you could miss as long as you slow somebody down. It's hard when you're on defense and you're missing people. You just flat out, yeah, I'm getting there. And
So,
I
like
know,
you said, yeah, go ahead.
I know there's a bunch of content creators that love the same team that we love that was really high on Maris Luafau. And as the year went on, I said, y'all still high on him? And a lot of them, no, a lot of them are not still high. They don't even mention his name right now. Because in this defense, they don't even know where he's going to play. He's not
Even when we were
rusher.
even when we were sharing Maris Luafau and talking about him, the one quality that he has is he punches the ball out. One thing that people got to understand that great quality of punching the ball out only comes from he don't tackle head up. He tackles from the side or behind you. So his whole approach to being a good punching the ball out comes from an angle of poor tackling angle.
Right.
You don't tackle a guy from the side. You don't tackle a guy and let him get past you a little bit. You try to square your body up, number one, and you follow the tackle all the way through. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a coaching guru, but I understand tackling technique.
Yeah, you know,
And you break down, and that has been a lot of players' fault. They're very fast, and they get to the player, but they don't break down quick enough to make and complete the tackle all the way through.
Absolutely. So today these picks are gonna fly, which I love because the Cowboys have 3 picks, man. And we're at 104. The Cowboys are gonna be at 112 and 114. And
Darryl Jackson Jr., man.
he's a specimen. He's who you want. And, you know, I'm a little old school. You want him to be the first player coming off the bus. You want the team to see him and be like, whoa. Yeah, he's the first one you want coming off the bus.
Look, without food, without clothes, when he get off the bus, you just want him to have his lunch pail and his water bottle, huh?
Or back in the day, you know, when you in middle school and youth football and even high school sometimes, back in the day, high school's different now. When you came off the bus, you was already in your uniform. So you see that big boy coming off that bus in full uniform, and you're like, we're gonna have a hard day today, man. You're gonna
and it's funny. It's funny Dwayne says that, right? And I'll bring you guys back to something that I experienced. I don't even know if me and Dwayne ever shared this, right? But that imagery of seeing the biggest kid of the school coming off the bus first was always an intimidating factor. I was somebody that always went to the games, always watched. And I remember one year, Union had played Union, the high school that me and Dwayne went to, right? We played another state powerhouse, Randolph, New Jersey, right? This is the first time we played Randolph. I had seen them before, but sometimes when you see them, you don't really give them the respect that you think. So Randolph was a powerhouse in New Jersey. But when Union played them, I'll never forget, I was talking cash junk. Oh, we're going to beat them. We're going to beat them. And then when they got off the bus, I really started talking junk because they were small kids.
Yeah,
they didn't have anybody that looked at over 200 pounds back then. But the way they were coached and how good them players was, I'll never forget that. I never judge a book by its cover, but Dwayne is so right when he talks about having the biggest guys and Darryl Jackson getting off the bus first. Why is an intimidating factor?
And speaking of big guys and somebody that you'll see on my list, I got him number 9 coming into today. He just got picked by Arizona, and as Quentin was talking, I don't know if you saw me in the box, my reaction. I was very upset that he's gone because I was hoping he was going to be one of the Cowboys picks because he's young. You could put him in the middle of that defense next to Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams, I'm sorry, and he would have been so really, really good on the inside. That's Caleb Proctor. Went to a small school. As we know, the Cowboys will dip into small schools every once in a while. Think Flo, our wide receiver, he came from a smaller school. I like Caleb Proctor. I think he's a great pick at this stage. Listen, man, fourth round is where you build your team. I know everybody likes the flashy first day, second day. This third day is, if you talk to the people and you listen to these NFL people, they will tell you day 3 is when you build your team. These are team builders right here. And I think it's more potential. There's more chances to miss with players this late in the process, the fourth round. But if it's somebody that you see and you like their traits, like when I'm thinking about the team that I root for and I'm looking at the 18 remaining players on the list, I love an Elijah Surratt for the Cowboys. I love a Harold Perkins Jr. for the Cowboys. And I know we already got D. Winters and we got Barham, but I want to throw so much to this second level of the Cowboy defense. We got tight ends. I'm hearing some people saying we would go tight end again if we did. Michael Trigg is a good one. I really, 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 really like Donnell Dennis Sutton. I really like that kid from Penn State. Like his body type. He's strong against the run. I wouldn't mind seeing him come off the board. And I'm a Kyle Lewis fan. He's a shark. I ain't expecting people to understand what this is, but East Orange and East Orange campus, even though they're the Panthers, they believe they're
shout out to Kyle Lewis's family. Kyle Lewis's family, just like Dwayne said, he is a local kid, East Orange, New Jersey. My cousin actually did his watch party. He had a watch party yesterday.
Oh wow.
So yeah, she actually did his party. But you mentioned something, Dwayne, and I know that you always have these pet peeves. We lost a player on our roster last year, unfortunately, and you always root for this team, rowed a boat. You haven't mentioned this team yet, man. When is one of their guys going to get drafted, man?
They have a prospect. He's out of Teaneck, New Jersey. His name is Nadeem Tucker. He's an edge. He's an edge that if the Cowboys had a 5th round pick, I would have loved to have seen them do that. But hey, man, D. Winters is your 5th round pick. And that's not a bad 5th round pick to have. Nadeem Tucker is a run stuffing edge who would need to have a little bit work in his rush package. But he's a bigger defensive end. He reminds me of, I don't like doing comparisons. You think about Chauncey. He reminds me of Chauncey a lot. And so
Chauncey Golston.
I'm sorry, Chauncey Golston, who's now a member of the New York Giants. So I think we may see that name called. And it'll be interesting. Like I said, I like him to get called. I like Kyle Lewis to get called. This is very interesting to me. There's another receiver that just came off the board. I don't understand why Elijah Surratt is still out there. Kid's a winner. He was a winner at James Madison, and then he moved on to Indiana, and he was a key part of that national championship team, that national championship offense. I like Keith Abney a lot, the third. He's small, though. So I think that's why he's falling a little bit, but he's tough. He's a corner. He's tough. I wouldn't mind seeing him with the Cowboys. So we're looking. I don't think I had. No, I don't. I've had other receivers on this 20 other than the gentleman that just got taken. But right, again, when you're doing this draft stuff, and I love this stuff, man. Shout out to Dr. Z, man. Rest in peace. He was my guy. He's the guy that I loved. I've been on record as saying that. When I was a kid, I could not wait. And I got Sports Illustrated every week as a kid. But I couldn't wait till Dr. Z's mock draft would come out. It was the first and only mock draft I wanted to see. You know, before Kuiper, before all these guys, I wanted Dr. Z's mock draft. It's who I kind of model myself after when I'm looking at prospects and stuff like that. And so I'm a little bit different, right? I love ball. I'll watch ball every day of the week if I could. But on a college football Saturday, there's nothing for me to be sitting on this couch where I do all our videos from, because what are you doing when you're watching football? Most of the time you watch it from your couch. That's why I'm on the couch for these shows. But there's nothing, and my friend will tell you that I will be on my couch when life allows me to, from noon to
Watching
midnight.
ball.
Noon to midnight, watching college ball, man. So I believe in watching whole games, not film cut-ups. That's no knock on these guys that are doing what they're doing, and they got to look at all these prospects. I'm not the one that's going to go out here and tell you that I'm looking at 200, 250 prospects. I'm not. Every year I come up with 50 players in the preseason, and I say I am watching these 50 players this year. Every chance I get, I'm watching them play. I'm watching their games, and that's how I do it. I saw a couple of content creators yesterday where the Cowboys made this trade for a man that started 17 games, had over 100 tackles last year, and some of these guys didn't know who he was and was like, oh, I got to look at the film.
NFL player that we played twice in the last 4 years.
Exactly.
The Cowboys literally played him twice in the last 4 years. And the reason why he played all games last year is because the team he came from, they lost their two linebackers, and one of their linebackers, the probably the best middle linebacker football, and there's no doubt about it, I think Fred Warner, who's a Texas native, he played right next to him until Fred Warner got hurt. So when you say that, Dwayne, when you say you do your 50 and you watch Michigan, you watch most of the teams that are definitely in the top 20, top 25, and you're a big advocate, big watcher of high school sports from the tip of the top of North Jersey to Cape May, New Jersey, you're plugged in with the sport. You're plugged in with the parochial aspect of
DMV of Virginia too.
high school football. Plugged in. We have a friend we grew up with who you go down there every year. He's a prominent high school football coach in the DMV area. Let me ask you, bro. And this is not a shot at anybody. When you hear that, and we heard it at the same time, and we were discussing it, my first initial thought is, if you watch college football as much as you do, and you follow these guys, though you're not physically put them into a spreadsheet on the computer, doing notebooks like the great Corey Shavis did as a player, are you sometimes scratching your head like, how could you not know who this guy is and what he does?
Yeah, I am. Especially, like, full disclosure, I am a Michigan fan. Everyone that knows me knows I love the Maize and Blue. And by a byproduct of that, I like a certain brand of football. I'm a Big Ten guy, man. I watch a lot of Big Ten football. I watch the SEC too because it's out there, and some people say the SEC is it. But some of these names that people talk about, and then I hear them break them down, and I'm like, oh, this guy just watched film cut up of him. Because I could take 10 good plays and make it tell the story that I want it to. Or I could take 10 bad plays and make it tell the bad story that I want it to, right? What's happening in the whole game? What's happening in the whole game? Because guess what? Even on the pro level, in these games, you're going to have good reps, you're going to have bad reps. But guess what? Either or, you got to flush that rep once it's done, good or bad. Can't carry it to the next play.
And I know that and I know that this person has a way bigger audience than me and you have. I know that we all try to follow, we all, are supporters of the guys who do content and supporters of the writers and via Twitter. And I have to give credit, and I know I brought up the brother Okoye in Okoye Media, but I have to give credit to somebody else. Since the day that Christian Parker got hired, there has been one writer who has been spot on with Christian Parker and him implementing his version of the Vic Fangio defense, his version of having certain players in the skill set and in the defense and what he expects them to do and how he could tap into their instincts and characteristics. I have to give respect to John Owning. He has been the most spot on person. John Owning, what he is doing right now for the last 4 months, I'm going to sit here and say, to me, he is running circles around content creators and writers when it comes to being spot on with the Dallas Cowboys. I think anybody that is a Cowboy fan should be tipping their hat to him because every single player, every single coach, he is literally envisioning and getting us to understand what Christian Parker expects. There was no one talking about in Cowboy Land what a 4-eye lineman is until John Owning had to explain it to people and trying to educate us on understanding it. And I have to give John Owning his props. He has been spot on. But I got somebody that's going to come on, Dwayne, that I know I had this video queued up perfectly for you because you'll be happy to see him.
Schrager, and I'm live in Pittsburgh, where I just got back from covering the NFL draft's first night for ESPN. My biggest winners of the evening were the Dallas Cowboys. Coming into the first round, the Cowboys had two huge glaring needs: pass rush and defensive back. And they got both of them, and they didn't mortgage the entire future of their franchise or give up the farm to get them. They held firm, they stood their ground, and they sat there at the 12th pick and only had to give up 2 future 5th-round picks to move up to 11 to land Caleb Downs, who was a player that I didn't think there was a chance in heck they would be able to get there. Downs is the perfect fit for new defensive coordinator Christian Parker, who is a super high-energy 34-year-old former defensive backs coach who comes from Philadelphia. Parker is going to use Downs in a lot of ways because he's versatile, he's smart, and boy is he athletic. He's going to be a coach on the field for Parker. And what I love is that I use the NFL.com/IQ site, and I asked the AI assistant for an accurate analysis of Caleb Downs' NFL prospects. The site, which is powered by Amazon Quick, came back and says Caleb Downs has elite football IQ. That's huge for a first-year player. Elite football IQ. He's also got range. He's got playmaking ability. His production score is an 81 when you ask Next Gen Stats. And those numbers reflect a high-floor, high-ceiling prospect with legitimate star upside on the next level. I love the Caleb Downs pick. But then they get Malachi Lawrence in the 20s, and they did so by trading back a little bit. I typed into the AI assistant, give me a comp for him, someone in the NFL, and Josh Sweat's name came back. Josh Sweat won a Super Bowl with the Eagles and just got paid a huge amount of money by the Arizona Cardinals last offseason because he's an incredible athlete who makes big splash plays and can get to the quarterback. That's the hope for Malachi Lawrence. They got their pass rusher. They got their star defensive back. The Cowboys, they had themselves a night. Look, Dallas's defense was really bad last year. But if you're a Cowboys fan, you've got to feel pretty darn good with how they did in night one. I'd be ecstatic about Caleb Downs, and I'd be really excited to see what they can get out of Malachi Lawrence. Cowboys fans, have yourself a night.
And that was from day one of the great Peter Schrager. And Peter Schrager, we know is a guy that we all love, guy that we all respect. He always has good insight. He has a relationship with the players. And that was his analysis after day one. I wanted to bring him on to, give us some perspective if you haven't seen the clip on what he felt about the Cowboys' first 2 picks. I saw that you got excited. I see a big fella just came off the board.
Yeah, I got excited. I did see that clip, and I'm glad you put it up there. But we are 4 picks away from Dallas, so I'm paying very close attention to who's coming on and off the board. And it seems to be a run right now on D tackles, and I think just like we've seen in the past, like 2 years ago, It's about to be a big run on running backs. And
hmm
that's why I say I would like at either 112 or 114 for the Cowboys to go ahead and pick one of these running backs. And the Jets just traded in after this Chiefs call. So we're getting closer and closer to Dallas. I know you got eyes on the War Room Cam in there. And no, I appreciate the Schrager and the video you put up. I'll have more thoughts about it, but right now we're in our sweet spot, man. So
Yeah.
I want to pay attention to who's coming off the board because
So tell me about Jonah Coleman.
big kid, big, thick, strong running back, and you guys could put the pause button in there with the adjectives that I'm gonna be using, but I'm talking football. So he's a thick bodied running back. Some people worry about will he eat himself out of the position? I don't worry about that. You know, he's 5'8", he's about 220. He's like a fire hydrant, man. We've seen these type of running backs before with that type of size. There's a lot of Cowboy content creators that wanted him. I love Jaden Kennedy. That just went to the he just
The
went to
Chiefs.
Chiefs going DB again. They've completely changed their secondary room. Think about what they've done in this draft. Is this the third corner that they've taken? I know they took Delane. I think they took another, if I can remember correctly, I think they took another corner, but they had to replace both of their corners. I like Kennedy a lot. He's small. He's a little smaller, but with that height, he can go in there and he can cover slot receivers. I don't know how much he'll play on the outside. I'm not saying he can't play on the outside, but I think he's more of an inside corner. He's definitely one. I just don't understand how Malik Muhammad has not been drafted yet.
We had a spirited conversation last night. Malik Muhammad was brought up by our brother Craig in the middle of our conversation. We had a spirited conversation last night about a player that played for the team that I root for in college, Keontae Scott, and you're selling him that you sold him. You've been selling him to me why Dallas should pick him up. I just wanted McCoy, like you wanted McCoy as well. But I was saying how Keontae Scott is basically a Swiss Army knife at a DB position. I don't think he's a good boundary corner, but I think he's a very good corner. The War Room is heating up.
Yeah, we're 2 picks away,
Shot,
bro. So I want to
shot,
concentrate on
Shotty, and Will McClay got
going on.
the Carolina Blue Jackets on the day.
Let's see. The Jets, who have had the best draft, in my opinion, they've just traded, and it's somebody that they like here. It may be a defensive tackle. They may see a big body that they like.
And I'll go on record before the
will
Jets
say
even
this.
make this pick. They're nailing it, in my personal
They
opinion, just reaction.
Well, I will say this real quick before the pick is announced. On my number 17 on my board, Max Llewellyn, he is an Aaron Glenn type player. I wouldn't be surprised if his name comes off the board here. I wouldn't be surprised if Harold Perkins Jr. name comes off here at 110. I like the Joseph's kids a lot. I showed this list to one of my boys that I respect. He was like, Dwayne, man, I'm not hearing a lot about that kid. And you got him 8. And I was like, I just like him, man. I just like the way he plays the game. Definitely would be one that I wouldn't mind Dallas Cowboys taking. I'm very intrigued who the Jets traded up to come get. Because like I said, man, this 4th round is where you really get to the meat and potatoes of what you're trying to build, how you're trying to build. Let's be honest, man. Aaron Glenn has to have a season to save his job. I love Aaron Glenn. Loved him as a football player when he was with the Jets, when he was with the Cowboys. He was a good assistant coach at Detroit. But I want Aaron Glenn to be very careful in the New York market. The way he answers questions, the way he's going back and forth with the media, it's not a good look for him. I just want
the Cowboys is basically making their pick. Will McClay is on the phone. They're all giving low fives. They're giving low fives. They're a little tired. Last night during the Cowboys press conference,
I'm trying.
A reporter asked the Cowboy guys
Who's coming
about
in? Is
coffee. Not yet.
Colton Adams
Will's,
coming in, or
Will's still on the phone. He ain't passed the phone around yet. And just to make mention of it, that they asked Will McClay and them about coffee and being motivated. Will McClay was like, "We love what we do. This is our job to try to get this team back to a championship that they haven't won in 30 years." So Will McClay basically said, "We don't need to be motivated. We're motivated because we love this, and this is our job to do it."
About this too, man. The Cowboys come right back.
Yes, Clayton Adams have just walked in.
It's Clayton Adams. So this is going to be an offensive player. If I'm thinking offense, I'm thinking wide receiver. I would like to see Elijah Surratt. I wouldn't mind seeing the guy from Arkansas, Mike Washington Jr., but at least we know it's an offensive player. If you're telling me that Clayton Adams has come in there,
Yeah.
Could be coming up for a lineman. They could be coming in.
He looks very happy. Very happy.
They could be coming in for a tackle.
Shotty just handed him the phone. And tackle is a position, I'm not going to say a position of need, but one thing that you know about the Dallas Cowboys is they love their third tackles. They've always loved their third tackle because, unfortunately, the last few years, probably 6 or 7, both tackles have never held up the whole season. That's the one position. And we know that the Cowboys got basically one very good guard, and they're basically straight in the middle. A lot of people have complained about both tackles.
I just hope they didn't reach. Every draft, the Cowboys will reach sometimes, and they'll have you scratching your head with a.
Warrow's very excited. One of the players just walked in.
Whoa. New York Jets. Wow. That is shocking to me that they came up to get Cade Klubnik, the quarterback from Clemson, and was a phenomenal player in high school. Phenomenal. They were thinking he was the next can't miss. Your Trevor Lawrence's, your Sam Darnold's, all those big name quarterbacks and I think he was solid at Clemson, but he was very underwhelming. I am completely shocked that Cade Klubnik.
And make no mistake, when Dwayne's been mentioning the Jets, one thing I want to say about the Jets, we both think the Jets are nailing the draft. The Jets draft well. I know people be like, well, they ain't been in the playoffs the longest out of any team. That has nothing to do with it. The Jets draft well. The Jets' problem has been quarterback. Who is the Jets' offensive coordinator? Is Frank Reich. Everybody knows that Frank Reich can develop a quarterback. So Dwayne explaining this player fits right in with the Jets taking a gamble because the pressure is on from the ownership group to Aaron Glenn, so much so that he told Aaron Glenn, no, you're going to coach this defense. So the Jets, the head coach is Aaron Glenn, and he's going to coach the defense, but the offense will be fully under the control of Frank Reich. And Frank Reich is going to try to develop them and get these players and get this offense going.
Just finishing my thought on this, though, I would have went with Garrett Nussmeier before I went with Cade Klubnik. I'm a little surprised they traded up, and they traded up for Cade Klubnik.
Cowboys War Room is just so happy right now.
Well, they got back-to-back picks, so they could have made them both. This thing moves fast. Can't worry about, TV. So they got back-to-back picks. They're probably on with the other prospect at this point. I wanted defense, but if they grab somebody, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to be upset if it's a Elijah Surratt that the Cowboys draft.
Now, Will is on the phone. The second time he's on the phone, I'll let you know exactly who shot he passes the phone to again.
Yeah, because they're coming back to back. Like I said, the Cowboys, these picks are already in the can, folks. They're just waiting on TV. But if they're as excited about 112 as you said, I'm wondering if they're going to be as excited about 114.
Oh, they're excited, bro. They're giddy. They're more excited standing up clapping about 114 than they was about 112.
Oh, well, that's crazy then. That's crazy. There's still some really good players out here, but here's the pick in at 112. You know, they're gonna always announce that Cowboy pick. Okay.
Is
I
there
would
any
love them.
Oregon play? Is there any Oregon players available? I'm going by what Stephen Jones just did. He just did this or the Gator thing.
I,
He just did something with his hand. Oh, it's a defensive player.
oh, I like Drew Shelton. I like Drew Shelton a lot. This puts Tyler Guyton on notice. Drew Shelton is a huge individual. He is a prototypical left tackle. He's a mauler. He'll maul you in the run game. He will maul you in the run game. Has to work on his pass pro a little bit for my liking, but he's nasty.
The 112 pick, Dwayne, is a defensive player. Christian Parker was on the phone.
114, you mean?
I mean, 114 pick, yes.
I like Shelton. Drew Shelton is he's a good prospect at left tackle. But listen, competition. That's one of the things that Shoddy preaches. He preaches competition. Shelton he's big, man. He's from Downeytown. He's played 48 games at Penn State. He started 34 of them. He was an honorable mention All Big Ten last year. He's a two-time starter. I'm just looking at some notes that I wrote down, not knowing that they were going to draft him. Big kid, senior. He's a more mature prospect. So, hey, man, competition, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about.
He gets in that offensive lineman, and we think that we have one of the best offensive line coaching rooms, and want to have that room. The Cowboys love their third tackle because their third tackle always comes out to be valuable. And at the end of the day, Guyton still redid his deal. Like, we got to start looking future forward.
This is on Tyler Guyton. Tyler Guyton is a show and prove year for you because we just drafted somebody that could take your job. And that may sound crazy because he's a 4th round pick and Guyton was a 1st round pick. But I've seen this kid play a lot.
And he is the first offensive player drafted by the Cowboys till now.
Cowboys are always, let's be honest about Dallas Cowboys. One thing we know as Cowboy fans, they always going to take them an offensive lineman. And they have success with offensive linemen that they take. So even if he doesn't play this year, let's say Guyton develops, he could be your right tackle that takes over for Terrence Steele. But what it is, it's
a bunch of the defensive coaches just came in the war room about 114. They look very happy.
Well, I'm hoping they're happy because they're going back-to-back Penn State. So if we're thinking they're going crazy and it's defensive people, let's talk about it. It could be a Kyle Louis, it could be a Keontae Scott who you don't like, it could be a Malik Muhammad who I love. It could be Donnell Dennis Sutton. It could be Joshua Josephs.
Yeah.
It could be Bryce Brocher from Oregon. It could be Bryce Brocher from Oregon. If you said that Stephen Jones did something that made you think of Oregon, could be Bryce Brocher. Could be a Max Llewellyn. Hey, man, it could be Lorenzo Styles Jr., Sonny Styles' little brother, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
Sonny Styles' big brother. I'm sorry, I said little brother, but he's the big brother.
It's funny. Dwayne said, I don't like Keontae Scott for the Cowboys. Not because he's not. I don't think he's good. I think he's good, and I'm a Miami fan. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. This would be the perfect storm for Keontae Scott, but I just think that we don't have enough plays for him. But it will not piss me off with him. I think that this defense, when you look at, and I don't want to give a synopsis of the offseason, but when you look at what the Cowboys have done, they've done now we know that it's on paper. We know that it's on paper, but the way their defense was last year, they have literally turned their defense over until further notice. They on paper, their defense is totally different on paper.
Looked like Mitch LaPointe did a gator jump in the middle of the. Would that be Devin Moore? Is that a tell?
Somebody said in that sign that you saw was not Oregon. It was a gator chop.
I heard it came through. Your microphone picked it up.
If it's a gator chop, it's Devin Moore. If they did a gator chop, it's Devin Moore. And Devin Moore he's a good corner. He's played in big games. But we'll see. We don't have to speculate much. If they did a gator chop, it's Devin Moore. And he's a good corner. He's a good person to add to that cornerback room. And so then we'll be back at 137, man. And Shelton probably could have been there at 137.
Are you surprised? I know I had mentioned maybe the second round, and you were like, no. Are you surprised that nobody has decided to take someone who has the genes, the prodigy, as Nussmeier? That nobody's decided to pick him?
I'm really surprised.
As bad as a year he had, he still has the quarterback mindset.
I wouldn't mind him at 137. All right, let's see who it is at 114. Is it the corner from Florida? Could be the corner from Florida, who I like him. He has good film. Oh, okay. What? Come on, man. Yeah. Corner.
What's up? That's who they got?
Yeah. Big corner. He's 6'3", man. 200 pounds. He is a massive corner, bro. He will press you. Oh, I can't wait to break him down. You know, corner is my favorite position. Quentin Ford may not have let people know that. He is a beast, bro.
Explain him. Ball hawk or just big, physical?
He wants to press. He's physical. He has good ball skills down the field. Don't like his hips all that great.
Tight or not as flexible?
Little tight, but he's 6'3" and a half.
Okay, yeah, he's big. Oh, and this is something that we saw something yesterday, and we're not going to get into the names, but this is something that me and Dwayne talked about. We're getting this corner. Dwayne just mentioned how big he was, so he don't fit the typical measurements as a corner. He's a little bit, as they would say, bigger as a corner, and probably isn't as what they would say fluid in the hips. When you have very fluid hips as a corner or receiver, this is one of the quote unquote older traits that they use. One of the things that a lot of people has been saying lately is teams don't know how to draft. And that, to me and Dwayne, is some of the most disrespectful things that you could ever say is because you can't allow your measurements to affect the draft board. You have to draft according to what you want out of the player, what you think the player could do based off of what you want out of the player in that specific scheme. Sometimes players can fit multiple schemes. Sometimes players don't. Sometimes you get a boundary corner, inside corner, corner who could play safety sometimes, and Dwayne has a big issue. And myself, Dwayne has been watching the draft way longer than me, into the draft way longer than me. But to say that teams can't draft is just, disrespectful. Elijah Sherrod, the Baltimore Ravens just do what they do. They do what they do. The Baltimore Ravens give teams and listen, just like I said, teams I don't agree that teams don't know how to draft. This is one team that they always draft just best available player most of the time. Go ahead, Dwayne.
Listen, I love the player, man, and I'm happy he's going to Baltimore. This kid is a winner. He's a winner at James Madison. He's a national champion at Indiana. So, the question was, can he go from James Madison and get on the big stage and prove it? And he proved it, man. So it's just no surprise to me that a team like Baltimore took him. When you're thinking about the Moore kid and the reason that he went, he's had injuries. He's had a lot of injuries at Florida. He never played a full season there. Now, I did hear someone say on the show that I was just listening to when I muted the phone that he doesn't have the weight for the position. I don't know what that person's talking about. This man is 6'3 and a half, 198 pounds. And if he puts that peanut butter on, by the time he get there, he's going to be 205, somewhere like that.
They said that about Moore?
Yeah.
Or Sherrod?
They said that about Moore. Like somebody on a war room said that he's lanky. They don't know if he has the weight for the position. He's 198 pounds. What are we talking about? One thing about him, he'll come up and hit you. He's a corner also that Christian Parker could blitz him and he could get home.
Dwayne, is that one of the themes that we noticed with Christian Parker and some of the players the Cowboys been getting on defense, that they want guys who are physical, good short tacklers?
They want people that's going to fly all over the field. You look at the trades they've made. You look at the picks they've made. You look at the free agent signings they made. Now, they're throwing a lot of people at this cornerback position. Like, that's a good pick. That's Todd Bowles, man. Todd Bowles. Look at what Todd Bowles have done for that Tampa Bay defense, man. I love this kid.
I'm elated with him going there. Because he will get the opportunity. And if you know anything about Todd Bowles, he does this multiple stuff with his defense. I love this pick for Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I love the kid. He went to Miami. I believe that this team picking him will allow him to shine on defense. He's going to use him everywhere.
He's going to be with one of his teammates, Ruben Bain.
And if you listen to Ruben Bain and his emotion yesterday, Thursday, Ruben Bain did not seem very happy, but he was very thankful and grateful. It's been a lot with Ruben Bain with the situation.
The only pick I question with Tampa Bay is taking Hurst at 84. They've added Bain, Trotter, and now Scott to that defense.
You can have whatever you like, fellas. Now that is three very youth movement on defense. We know that Tampa Bay, they lost. They let the great Mike Evans go, so their offense. But they got a good player last year, and the kid from Ohio State on offense, and then Irvin was hurt some of the year, but the offense should be all right. Baker's been holding the offense down for 3 seasons now. Now they need to work on their defense and getting these plays on defense.
All I would say about Will McClay, the man that runs the draft for the Cowboys, he's on brand. He's on brand. The only quote-unquote small school player we've drafted is Malachi Lawrence. Other than that, you got Alabama, Michigan, Penn State, Florida.
Will McClay, I can mimic Will McClay very well. We're going to try to get good players to great players from a Power 5 conferences, and we want to try to get them to be multiple and put them into our team and get our hands on them and coach them up.
You've had 5 picks for the Dallas Cowboys.
In a trade.
5 picks for the Dallas Cowboys. I ain't even thinking about the trade right now. I'm just talking about Will McClay drafting. And in those 5 picks, you have Alabama, Michigan, Penn State, Florida. That's 2 Big Tens. It's 2 SECs. So you bet your bottom dollar at 127 it's probably going to be another either Big Ten or ACC player. It's what they do. It's what he does. So if we're looking at the list that I got up here, right? McCoy is off the list. Surratt is off the list. Scott is off the list. Proctor is off the list. That's it. Still some names out there. I am surprised. I will say I'm a little surprised that the Cowboys went with Moore and not a Malik Muhammad. It's interesting. I can't wait to hear.
One of the things that sometimes with the Cowboys, and I think this might be where you're going, Dwayne. I'm not trying to steal your thought. One of the things that Cowboy Land does is they always tend to think that the Cowboys are going to draft players that are very local. And being that Malik Muhammad played in Texas, sometimes you'll hear content creators like, oh, they really liked him, or they had him in his 30 visit. They don't have to have Malik Muhammad in for a 30 visit. They'd have this thing in Dallas called Dallas Day, where you can get the local kids to come in. Same thing the Texans do. All teams in pro sports do it. And it's outside of your regular 30 visits. So, yes, sometimes having a familiarity with a player is beneficial, but, sometimes dealing with the Cowboys, you got to rely on your scouts. Dwayne mentioned Will McClay. Will McClay, I believe we always go back and forth with him. He doesn't get the credit he deserves, and he definitely don't get the criticism he deserves sometimes.
That is a huge man that just came off the board, folks.
Travis Burke.
He's a big one. He's 6'9", man. Look at Jim Harbaugh, man.
If you look at the Chargers, they lost both of their starting tackles last year, so they're getting a lot of depth. They're going to try to control. Jim Harbaugh is going to show you what he's going to do.
Guess what he did? He traded in front of Detroit because he knew Detroit was probably going offensive lineman. They love those Michigan players up there in Detroit. I love Jimmy Roller. He is a football player. That's what he is. He's downhill. He's going to thump you, man. He's violent. You're going to hear him. So Dan Campbell has dipped back into that Michigan pool, man. And I hear these people, these Cowboy people, who ain't nobody from Michigan. All right. Well, Roller, Barham, and Moore are going off that Michigan defense. Jimmy Roller he's a football player. He's a football player. And you may say something about that, but this man has gone Clemson and back-to-back Michigan. Jimmy Roller staying in Detroit, he's in the Detroit area, in Michigan, and I'm happy for this kid. He's just everything you would want in a football player in the locker room. And again, folks, you may be like, who is this guy talking about Jimmy Roller? I am a Michigan Wolverine fan since 8 years old. So anything Michigan, you come to me. All right? You want to know something about a Michigan player? You come to me. Because as Quentin will tell you, I am sick when it comes to the teams I support. We watch Cowboy games. I tape the games that we watch. And I'll rewatch a game 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, like you said, the rest of these picks are just going to roll off through. They're rolling through these picks now.
So I think there's still really good value out there, man. Like, I think Deion Burks is a very good wide receiver. I think Keith Abney III is a very good corner. So you would think the Cowboys have done that corner, right? Because we picked up Durant, Kobe Durant. We picked up Kendrick. Both of them were with Los Angeles. Now you add more to the mix. Kalen Carson, it's time to step up. Josh Butler, you've been wanting your opportunity. It's time to step up. Cowboys got a lot of bodies in that cornerback room. At 137, if you give me a Deion Burks, I'll be happy. If you give me a Bryce Bosher, I'll be happy. If you give me Mike Washington Jr. at 137, I would be ecstatic. I don't understand why Mike Washington Jr. has not been drafted yet. The running back from Arkansas. He actually fits Green Bay if Green Bay wanted to do it. I mean, I know their pick is in. Green Bay just traded a receiver to the Eagles, so maybe this is where Deion Burks lands. I like Joshua Joseph as an edge, man. I'm telling you, I got him 8 on my board. So who's left? Kilgore, Washington Jr.,
Lewis,
Josephs, Muhammad, Burks, Nussmeier, Abney III, Perkins, Genesis Smith, Bosher, Max Llewellyn, Trigg. So it's still a lot in my top 20.
Mm-hmm.
You could say, well, damn, D, that doesn't bode well for you. But listen, when you get to the 4th round, it's about what these scouting departments and what these organizations like. Quentin Ford, who's had his eye on the draft camp, told you that they went crazy for drafting an offensive tackle. And he said they literally went crazy in that war room for drafting an offensive tackle in the 4th round. So that's something that they gave Colton Adams a bone. He probably was in there like
you gotta trust your board. You don't board chase. Your board is your board. You mark everybody off according to when they get drafted, and you don't compromise your board. You may have a guy where you're saying, I have to draft defense. I need to draft this defensive guy because I don't want to get him later. So they drafted the big guy and basically said, we can't wait till 137 to get him. He might not be there at 137. We believe some linemen are going to go here, so they made the lineman pick first, and then Moore just was the next pick, the second pick after that.
My boy is going off the board, and Michael Parsons will like that. They're bringing a Nittany Lion home with him. I like Dennis Sutton a lot. I like him. He's not twitchy. He's not overly fast, but he's strong at the point of attack. I was hoping he may fall at 137, but Green Bay needed him.
Yeah, I heard something that just shifted my thoughts, but all I'm gonna just say is that, just stop criticizing these teams the way they draft. That's all I'm gonna say. Anybody that's in the space that we in, don't fall into this trap of saying teams can't draft. I just heard a guy say teams is doing a better job than they did yesterday drafting. Don't fall into that. Don't fall into that. Teams draft. This is all a crapshoot on what you think the player's skill set and the fit. That's all it is. I'll never forget the great Chris Carter said about sports. He said, the NFL is the one sport where you cannot just put any player in a scheme. It's not that easy. We've seen it countless time again, where veteran players have players have success with one organization, and even if that coach or coaches go to another organization, it's just not a good fit. We've seen it. You very rarely see players get traded from teams and really pop when they go to other teams. Some players get better when they go to the new team, but you very rarely. It's all about fit. It's not a common practice. So when you hear guys that know more about football than me, I'll say it. For them to ever come out their face and say that teams don't know how to draft and disrespecting teams for when they draft, I think it's crazy. Sometimes you may take a chance on a guy or two, 3 guys, and decide, I see something there. If I could get him to just show that every down, maybe he'll pop because he got the strength, he got the skill to do it, but maybe he may not do it. He may not be a high motor guy, and you may think you could be motivating them. Some people,
I don't get this.
one thing about the professional athlete, everybody don't love football like you and I.
Oh,
So don't fall into this trap if you're ever talking about football where you're going to say teams don't know how to draft. I think that is so disrespectful.
okay. He's more of a specialist than a wide receiver to me. So if you're drafting him for your special teams, I can't knock it. But I would not have taken him as a wide receiver over Deion Burks. You could disagree with a pick that a team may make, but these teams have people in these positions and paying these people a lot of money for a reason. I think the gentleman that you're talking about is just in the process of wanting to be argumentative. He went at another one of their co-hosts, and I had a friend of mine just text me and said he's going after the same guy again right now. So I don't get what that's all about. I don't get why he's put his crosshairs on a colleague and is trying to bring colleagues into arguments. And this is a man that at one point Quentin used to call me his twin and call us twins. I don't even want to be considered the same type of person as this man at this point. Because what I once thought of him has changed. He has changed since he's come into different mediums. He's changed the way that he carries himself. And I, for one, have fallen back from him because of it.
Yeah, and that is that. And we probably won't even mention it after the show because I knew you was going to find out about it because they were going at it. But anyway, I do got another something else to put on your face for the day during our draft show. Someone I know who you love. You put me on this man. Very respected man. Sometimes you get these gems that a lot of people don't know about in the national media, and you want to keep them to yourself. But Dwayne shared this man with me, and I'm gonna just put him up there so he can say what he said about the Cowboys the other day.
Love it. I love it. I love it. And by the way, I'm going to sit here in late April and say it. The Dallas Cowboys are not only going to win the damn division, they're going to be a legitimate Super Bowl contender. And how many times have we heard that in Dallas, right?
A lot.
Oh, my God, this is Dallas's year. You know what? For all the criticism that Jerry Jones has taken, and believe me, a lot of it is deserved, when this team takes the field and the way they're constructed right now, new look defense, you add those guys to that defense, you add a pass rusher with twitch, you add the guy in the back end, the Dallas Cowboys are going to score a ton of points on offense. That team is going to be a Super Bowl contender, and they will win the East.
And folks, that is the great Pete Prisco of CBS Sports. Pete Prisco, I believe, is an old school football guy. And at the end of the day, football doesn't change. And now Dwayne and myself, like I said, we go back to 6th grade. But Dwayne and myself also grew up on Mike and Chris. And Pete Prisco reminds me of one of those guys that you're turning down the dial to a radio station and you bump up on them and you're like, wow, I found a gem. You could listen to a guy like Jody Mack all day long for 3-4 hours, Jody McDonald. Pete Prisco reminds me of one of them guys that I can listen to talk football all day long. He don't believe in drafting a running back early, but when you listen to Pete Prisco and his understanding of players and teams and the front offices and cities is very interesting. So, I know this is not a plug-in show with our Okoye. I do it, but I don't intend to do it, but I have to give people who I consume
Listen,
flowers.
there's certain people that we love, man. Like, for me, as a fan of the Cowboy, I reached out to Zach Walchuk this morning on X, and I told him that he's crushing it. I told him that I appreciate what he's bringing to the table, right? I reached out to Nick Harris Let him know I love what he's doing. Appreciate what he's bringing to the table. One of my favorite people is Foots the King. I do. I don't always agree with him, but I think the brother is dope. I think that brother don't even know his potential and what he's doing. If he really just believed in what he's really doing and his potential, I think he's the best in the cowboy content creator world. You know, I listen to Vach. I listen to Vach Lombardi. I like Vach. You know, I don't always love some of the fluff that comes with it. Like, I love Daniel Jeremiah, right? I'm a big Lou Riddick fan. The best in the business right now for me is Dan Bugler. Love Dan Bugler. Love John Oney. Brian Baldinger. Dan Orlovsky. Those guys really know how to break down film. But I love the guys who aren't bound by producers at the big letter networks. I need a moment. Sorry, folks. Quentin, go ahead and say what you got to say.
Yeah, I was just gonna play another one of these videos and just, go from there.
Holding those picks, also improving and collecting more with a couple fourth rounders.
Yeah, they had a great first round. And this was a defense last year in Dallas. Their safeties were absolutely ate up. 72% completion percentage. They gave up 10 first downs, over 120 passer rating when quarterbacks threw that way. I'll be fascinated to watch Christian Parker, who's their new defensive coordinator, use them. I would imagine they would use Caleb Downs in a similar way that the Eagles did with Cooper DeJean. And then Malachi Lawrence, I was tipped off a little bit just watching Chris Long, the ex-great Philadelphia Eagle and Los Angeles Ram, or St. Louis Ram, talk about him. He raved about his talent. So a Cowboys team that had massive defensive issues got two very, very good defensive players.
The best player in the draft. Caleb Downs can play in the nickel, and he can blitz from the nickel. Caleb Downs can play at the safety. There is not a more cerebral defensive player, plus physical defensive player, plus instinctual defensive player, plus impact defensive player than Caleb Downs. There is not a more prototypical player per his position than Caleb Downs. Caleb Downs, to me, is the most pro-ready day one starter in the entirety of the draft. And I will give you all this one better, and this is the argument that ends all arguments, Cowboys fans. There is no other player in this draft besides Caleb Downs that could come in and start on every single team. You think about the team, he would start. Think about the best defenses, he would start. Houston Texans, he would start. New England Patriots, he would start. Seattle Seahawks, he would start. Baltimore Ravens, he would start. Caleb Downs is as pro-ready of a prospect as you can find coming out of college. For the sake of argument, I will simply focus on defense. He is by far and away the best defensive player in the draft, and the Cowboys were able to get him at pick 11 moving up. Bravo, Jerry Jones. Bravo, Cowboys fans. Y'all better be turned up in Frisco at the Star. Let's get it.
What a clip. What a take. That was one of the best takes I've heard in a long time. A guy who played the league, a guy who talks about the league, a guy who really, if you look at it, Acho is killing it when he does do film, but he knows. He knows. He sees it. He sees it when he watches them. And players see it, like he said. And literally, and I'm going to say it, he is one of the rare players that can go to any team in the NFL and probably start. Just what Acho said. I agree. So, Dwayne, you were a little upset because a guy or two left. Explain what happened. Somebody got drafted that you wanted on your board?
Another one just left that I love, but I obviously loved him more than the Dallas Cowboys loved him, and that's Malik Muhammad, and he just went to the Bears. But I love the player. I do not love where he got drafted. I love Mike Washington Jr. He is that dude to me at running back. I don't like that he's going to Las Vegas when Genty is already there.
Mm-hmm.
A talent I don't think the Raiders could pass on. I think I don't know. We've been doing a lot of stuff, but I think they traded to get him, which I guess you're going to do Thunder and Lightning. But, you know, we can we reset and run through the last couple of picks? I know we've been putting up videos and all that stuff, and we haven't really been addressing a lot of the picks.
Yeah, go through them, Wayne.
Let me just give me a moment. You could talk about something else. I just want to go through these last couple of picks because we've been reacting. You know, and again, man, it's all our opinions, right? But like when you come out of high school, you're a 5-star, or you may be a no-star. But the greatness about the game, it don't matter what star you are once you get on that campus and start playing.
And you always talk about that when you talk about this process and understanding that once you get there, now it's time to earn your spot. Once you get the opportunity, now it's time to earn your spot.
No matter if
you're not in control of when you get drafted.
Case in point, folks, Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick in the draft.
So everybody made a mistake 7 rounds.
You know? All right. Let me see. Let's go since Dallas went at 114. Okay. Elijah Surratt, love him. He's in my top 20. He went to the Ravens. Keontae Scott, love him. He's in his top 20 today. Travis Burks, I didn't have him on top 20, but I get the pick. I'm a Jimmy Roller fan. University of Michigan. It's a system fit up there with Dan Campbell. Wesley Williams is an edge that I didn't love out of Duke. I just didn't love him. Doesn't mean that he's not going to be a great player. I am a big fan of Denise Sutton, who went to the Packers. Caden Wetjen, I would have never drafted him where he was drafted, but he is a solid specialist. At 122, man, my dude, Mike Washington Jr. Like I said, I love the player. I just don't love him going to Vegas. But Vegas is having a hell of a draft, man. Spytek's getting it done. Let's be honest. He added McCoy today, and he added Washington Jr. today, and I had them both in the top 10 of players that I felt was available today. Who am I surprised that's still out there? Max Llewellyn surprises me that he's still out there. Bryce Brocher, Harold Parker Jr., surprised that he's still out there. I am really surprised that Kyle Lewis is still out there. And if he makes it to 137, I hope the Cowboys draft him. I think the only reason he's not drafted at this point is where do you play him? What's his position? But what I know about Kyle Lewis Jr., I'm sorry, I said Jr. What I know about Kyle Lewis is that he's a ball player. He has been since youth football, since East Orange Campus High School. And I like the person that the Bills just drafted too. Caleb Elam-Zor out of TCU. He, to me, is a tackling machine, man. He had over 120 plus tackles last year at linebacker. So I like him a lot, you know. So here again, you're building teams, but I think when I'm going back to Michael Washington, right? When is he going to get on the field? Because Ashton Jeanty is a 3-down back. Ashton Jeanty can catch it out of the backfield and all that. So, love the value, like the player. I like Skylar Bell from UConn that Buffalo drafted. San Francisco 49ers. Do they go Joshua Joseph? Do they go Kilgore? Kilgore is a San Francisco 49er type defensive back. Do they go him? Who's going to be the team that pulls the trigger on Garrett Nussmeier, man?
Very, very interesting.
Will it be his? Will it be his daddy's team, the New Orleans Saints? And looking at it now, Cincinnati, they got a good backup. Carolina has a good backup. Miami is solid. Chargers are. I mean, there's not many places where he could go. We're almost coming back up on the Cowboys at 137. And so at this point, I think because you don't pick again to 218, you just take the best available if you're Dallas. Regardless of position, I think you take the highest person on your board at this point. Because what did we say we needed out of the Dallas Cowboys this offseason? Defense, 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 defense. And we've gotten that in our free agent moves. Did we sign a free agent on offense this year? If I'm thinking about it, did the Cowboys sign a free agent on offense? Or was it all defense? The majority of this draft.
Well, if you want to technically say Javonte Williams was a free agent, yes.
Yeah, I didn't want to consider him because he was a re-sign. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
I should have said outside free agent, I guess. But
they would say him and George.
Yeah, it's good, man. Like we're almost getting to the 5th round. The Cowboys don't have 5th round pick, unless something happens. We're getting towards the end of the 4th round and move rather rapidly. We are at 130, so we're not going to be on here all day because why would we be? You know, I just think we'll take a little break at the end of the 4th round and, you know, do a little production off camera and decide how we want to finish the rest of the afternoon up, how we want to wrap it up. But that would be more of a Dallas Cowboys slant for sure. But right now, on a personal issue, I want to see Kyle Lewis come off the board. I want to see this young man come off the board. I think he's a talent. And a little undersized, linebacker, may not be athletic enough to play safety. So I think that's why he hasn't been drafted yet. That's the only thing I could think of because he is a dog, man.
Yeah.
Who I would like to see Dallas do at 137 if they're still there. I like Joshua Joseph, who I still have on the board. Who's left on the board? Kyle Lewis, Jalen Kilgore, Joshua Josephs, Deion Burke, Nussmeier, Keith Abney, Howard Perkins, Genesis Smith, Bryce Bosher, Llewellyn, Trigg, Singleton. So it's still a lot of players that I like left on the board, man. Some flew off. We had a run on some of the players that I like, but it's still a lot of them out there, man. So people may feel different than I feel. 49ers back on the clock. I'm surprised, man. They traded Dean Winters. I'm surprised they're not taking a Howard Perkins Jr. or a Bryce Bosher.
They might think Kyle Lewis is a little small for them. So I think that's probably why they didn't get him. But they don't mind because, technically Fred Warner's a smaller linebacker too, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. I would think that they would get another linebacker just so they could be a good backup behind the two guys, two guys that really haven't been healthy the last few years. But like you said, definitely, it's definitely still some quality guys on your team. Like I said, these are the guys on the rosters now that fill your roster. Guys, lunch pail guys that will probably be relegated to special teams or get coached up. And you never know. You always find a gem. Like Dwayne said, Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant. And
yeah, I mean, it's in the eye, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I did see an interesting two stats on Drew Selton, who the Cowboys drafted in the 4th round. He allowed 1 sack and committed 1 penalty last season.
I just see Xavier Harris is still available.
That's a good pick for protecting Joe Burrow. Connor Lew.
Honolulu.
He's a really good center. You know, centers don't go high for the most part. But you want to protect Joe Burrow, man. Joe Burrow takes a beating behind that offensive line. So 137. Let me get back to it. I wouldn't mind Kyle Lewis. I wouldn't mind Joshua Josephs. I wouldn't mind Garrett Nussmeier. I wouldn't mind the Cowboys taking Garrett Nussmeier. I wouldn't mind Nick Singleton. I think the Cowboys need to get another running back, man. I'm not sold on Jalen Blue. Nothing against the young man, but I know he put the ball on the carpet a lot when he was at Texas. And I know he showed up in Dallas with Louis Vuitton cleats on that jacked his feet up. So I'm not into all that.
And he fumbled in the key game in Denver. They got the ball back, but he fumbled. And that was some of the things that me and Dwayne actually laughed during last year's draft show, because the first quality they talked about with Jadon Blue is he needs to get better on ball security. I think he had 6 or either 8 fumbles last year, 2 years ago in his last year in Texas.
Right.
And he never was a full-time starter. He basically was one of the backups, one of the guys that they rotated, and basically to get his hand, because he is a good player in open field. But far as, running between the tackles and around a lot of traffic, ball security is a premium. Being able to pass pro is a premium. You can't have a starting running back or a running back getting 20 carries a game or 15 to 18 carries a game that you're going to have in there for 30-something plays, where ball security and not being able to pass pro is a major concern. It changes how you coach. It changes when you're coaching and you feel like your tackles are having bad days and struggles. If you ever look at Javonte Williams, if anybody ever looks at Javonte Williams' film from this past year, he was excellent in pass pro. He was stonewalling people. It was at least one play every game where Dwayne would be like, "Yo, you see that? Williams, somebody came off that edge and it was about to destroy Dak, and Williams just depleted him like in the middle of a game, in the middle of a play." And you need that if you're going to be a quality running back in the NFL. So I would not be surprised, like you, Dwayne, to see the Cowboys get Nussmeier here, or you could potentially get a running back here. This is the point in the draft where you're getting depth. And these picks is mowing down.
Yeah, we're getting close to Dallas. We're about to be within 5 picks, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now after this is going to be 5 picks ahead of the Cowboys. So there will be some movement in that Dallas Cowboys war room, because the Dolphins, the pick is in for them. I can see them taking a Kyle Lewis at this. Somebody's going to take a chance on Kyle Lewis, and they're going to get a player, man. I know I keep mentioning him. I know people probably getting tired of me mentioning him, but he's a player, man. I am really surprised Kalen Kilgore has not come off the board yet in this 4th round. Also, Howard Perkins, the linebacker out of LSU. Genesis Smith is a safety out of Arizona that I like a lot.
So far, they ain't showed the war room. They went away from that camera in the war room.
Yeah, they're coming up. These picks is coming fast and furious. Charger pick is in, and Saints is on the clock. Hold on 1 second, folks.
I'm gonna let you guys hear Acho again. I get excited when I hear Acho say this.
Caleb Downs is the best player in the draft. I do not care about position. Caleb Downs is the best player in the draft. Caleb Downs can play in the nickel, and he can blitz from the nickel. Caleb Downs can play at the safety. There is not a more cerebral defensive player, plus physical defensive player, plus instinctual defensive player, plus impact defensive player than Caleb Downs. There is not a more prototypical player per his position than Caleb Downs. Caleb Downs, to me, is the most pro-ready day one starter in the entirety of the draft. And I will give you all this one better. And this is the argument that ends all arguments, Cowboys fans. There is no other player in this draft besides Caleb Downs that could come in and start on every single team. You think about the team, he would start. Think about the best defenses, he would start. Houston Texans, he would start. New England Patriots, he would start. Seattle Seahawks, he would start. Baltimore Ravens, he would start. Caleb Downs is as pro-ready of a prospect as you can find coming out of college. For the sake of argument, I will simply focus on defense. He is by far and away the best defensive player in the draft, and the Cowboys were able to get him at pick 11 moving up. Bravo, Jerry Jones. Bravo, Cowboys fans. Y'all better be turned up in Frisco at the Star. Let's get it.
I like to hear what Acho says about Caleb Downs. Like Dwayne said, nobody thought the Cowboys would be able to get Caleb Downs, even though from the outside it appears that he is the perfect fit, the perfect guy for this offense. But nobody in Cowboy land didn't think that he would fall to this. It's kind of unbelievable. But look forward to him, and see what happens, and figure out what the Cowboys are gonna do with him, and continue with this draft. And they're back in the war room. Steven's on the phone. Might be a trade. Just a little bonus, folks, until we get back. I'm gonna play something.
They say time is a healer, a slow-moving stream, but some losses run deeper than hope can redeem. So I sit by these waters till my soul understands that some love turns to dust in the palm of your hand. This river of my tears, it flows through the night, washing the pain with the pale morning light. It carries the sorrow, it carries the years. Oh, this reverse.
It's PGZ out of Jersey, nigga. Tell them add the gratuity, cause I'm serving niggas. They hear the pain in my voice, they know it's murder in it. That Audi come with an engine, I was just swerving it. I'm outside on the south side. All that capping, you rapping to get your mouth wide. They was up 10 on me, nigga, but now they down 5. Never turning up with no money, cause you the downside. I'm the difference and they talking about it. I put the words into actions and you just talking about it. I got 100 on a nigga rhyming. The flow cold, the Mac hoes like Frankie Lyman. The watch bezel is all diamonds, perfect timing. Used to dig Megan Thee Stallion, that was before the line. What they selling, tell them we ain't buying. Yeah, I'm all about peace, but my peace is iron. Haters had me feeling like David when he faced Goliath. Wanna go to
Another
war
one of
with
them
the
came
devil,
off
I'm
the
a
board.
deep.
Genesis Smith is off the board. Another huge individual just came off the board.
Jeremiah Wright.
He used to be a defensive player. that they moved to an interior offensive lineman. Again, folks, at this time, you're throwing bodies, man. You want competition. You want people that's gonna. All right, let's see. We are up to 132. Cowboys is picking 137. And we are getting into a point where we're 2, 4, 6, 8 picks away for the end of the round. Genesis Smith is a Jim Harbaugh type. Here go that team, man, that I love. The Baltimore Ravens have just traded in. I wouldn't be surprised if the Baltimore Ravens didn't trade in for Kyle Lewis, because they've had people in the past like D. Washington, who everybody was saying was undersized safety. You don't know if you're going to play him. And the Ravens found a way to play him, and he's still playing for the Ravens to this day. So
Got some movement going in the war room.
Yeah, you got to, because they're coming up on it. They're 137. So
Will look like he's selling. He's always talking. Will is always controlling the draft.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is where Kyle Lewis comes up. And it would be a perfect place for him to go, Baltimore. If I had a kid or a family member, I would want him being drafted by the Baltimore Ravens. Oh well. Folks, there are going to be some prospects that are going to get drafted that I know nothing about, and I'm not going to BS you. I know nothing about this tight end, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I do.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk about. I don't know if you want to talk about the war room. I can't tell you nothing about Matthew Hibner. I can't.
What about Joshua Josephs?
I like Joshua Josephs. Again, he's a run edge. He's not an edge that's going to get after the quarterback. And when you're thinking about the team that we root for, we got enough rushers. We need somebody to plug the run, and he's the type of kid that can plug the run.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Any action in the war room? No action, huh? That's surprising. If you're telling me there's no action there, are they trading the pick?
I got a feeling they might be trading it because it looked like Will was.
Are they trading and moving it back into the 5th round because they see some things on their board that they like? Because with some people, you're their favorite rapper's favorite rapper. Ain't that what my man P. Grant did on our little musical interlude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Will got one hand over about the press, and they just sitting in there talking right now.
Thank Lewis. Thank Josephs out of Tennessee. Thank the wide receiver from North Dakota State. I would be all over Grant Nussmeier here. Why not? If you're the Cowboys, why not?
Mm-hmm.
The Falcons, this is only their 3rd pick in this draft. That is weird. But they got 2 players that I like with their first picks.
Falcons made a bold move last year, and it almost came back and really totally bit them with what happened to the young man with his off-field outside activities, where he almost lost his career and maybe still have to deal with the NFL, what the NFL wants to do with him.
For some reason, my feed has frozen, so I can't see what's going on in the war room right now.
They're just talking. They're just talking in the war room. So yeah, like Dwayne said, after this round, we're gonna shut it down. Because yesterday's long day for me is definitely still catching up to me. I haven't really got much sleep.
But we ain't shutting it down for the day, folks. We're just gonna do some production. We're gonna really dig into the newest Dallas Cowboys, and if my friend would allow me, we'll also dig into D Winters because he's part of this draft class. We gave up draft capital for him, so. But I go with the way my producer go. The way wherever Q takes this,
Yeah, we'll probably we will pop back on later. Actually, we'll pop back on later and just give a synopsis, give a as they would say a roundabout discussion, and we're going to focus specifically on the Cowboys and the players that they've acquired today, and just discuss that and what are our thoughts. And like I said, how does the paper of the players look? Definitely, particularly on defense, because we know the offense didn't do much in the offseason. They added a tackle today, but particularly the Cowboys had a lot of turnover on defense. So we're just going to have a quick synopsis, quick conversation about defense. Dwayne will definitely get in depth about some of the players. Definitely one player because he knows them. He knows the player.
Steven is on the phone. So if Steven is on the phone, we may be trading. I think this is a trade. I think this is a trade. Maybe somebody in the top of the 5th rounder wants to come up. And at this point, if you got a lot of people still on your board, you don't mind a trade back.
Or a trade for a veteran player.
Or a trade for a veteran player, There he is. There's a linebacker that I like. The Colts have done it again. Taking a linebacker that I like before we have an opportunity to grade him. Bryce Bosher, he's just a football player. He's just an athlete. Big Tom Blake, he feels the whole heavy. That's what she said. Yeah, because we have fun on this network as well.
Yeah, we're sick.
But they just say he feels the whole heavy. That's what they said on NFL Network. Oh, all joking aside, he had a good week at the Senior Bowl too. I like him. We'll see what he is, and he's feisty too. He mixed it up a little bit at the Senior Bowl. He's a baseball player as well, so he has a future in that too if he wanted to. He was selected by the Astros in 2024, so this is the second professional league he's been drafted to. So we'll see, man. I like him. Cowboys War Room, what is going on? I don't see
sitting there.
Will on the phone. I saw Steven was on the phone. And I think they're trading, bro. Maybe they're trading.
I think they might have traded this 4th round pick for 2 5s. I did see Steven look at Shoddy and go like this. So I'm just assuming, I'm guessing y'all, I know y'all may be like, what the hell is he talking about? He's hands gestures, but he raised and said 2.
Cleveland has 3 picks at the top of the 5th round. They pick, then Washington pick, and then they pick 2 more times. So Cleveland may be giving us 2 of those 5ths to come up for somebody that they like. Maybe the trade is with Cleveland, because if they were making a pick, they would have made it already, folks. Because it's the Saints, and then the Cowboys is next. And you only got 5 minutes now.
And Will McClay is texting. He's not on the phone.
And they keep looking at their boards, right? So I think this is a move now. They probably see quite a few players on their list.
They're clapping hands. They're happy. They're happy with whatever was done. Will McClay is picking up the phone now.
Okay, so then they're drafting somebody. The beautiful Charlotte Jones has entered the room. Do we see if it's an offensive, defensive coach coming in? Is it offensive, defensive coach coming in? Looks like Christian Parker. Looks like Christian Parker. That's another defender. I'm hoping it's Kyle Lewis. It could be Joshua Joseph. I really hope it's the kid from East Orange, New Jersey. I'm, just being a little biased, folks.
I take that. If you take another linebacker, I take that Elliott kid out.
Fair use, fair use. Turn it up. Fair use.
I have Murdoch. If Murdoch's deemed for medical, I would take Elliott too. Yeah.
Oh boy, they talking about my linebacker that I told you about yesterday, Elliott.
Fair use, you guys. Fair use.
Lewis fits that.
Because if they need a linebacker and a safety.
Yeah, size and damn. The dude can just fly around and make all kinds of plays on the football field.
Yeah, man, 4-2-5, you're going to need two guys kind of like that. Yeah.
But Keyshawn Elliott was super productive, and he also does have some.
Keyshawn Elliott is good. I like Keyshawn Elliott.
I think he looked.
Yeah, definitely a defensive guy. Christian Parker got a lot of miles on. He got his steps in the last few days, you guys. He got his steps in, coming in and out the war room. We're just sitting here waiting for the Cowboys to pick you guys. Cowboy brass look very happy with this pick. Sometimes you can't tell when some of these organizations be as happy with a fifth pick, a fourth round pick, as they are with their first round pick.
Marcus Dixon just walked in the room.
Yes.
I would love for them to take. I would love for them to take Llewellyn. I don't think
Llewellyn would be fun.
Fair use
for me because I think he's when you watch it, the measurable.
I like Llewellyn. I'm telling you, I like Joshua Joseph from Tennessee.
Again, you watch just an outstanding football player. Iowa's defense is good, and you watch those guys play, and they play well as a unit. Botch, I know you really liked him too.
Who's that?
Llewellyn.
Man, I was a big fan of Llewellyn. He can play with his hands in dirt, and he can stand up and be an outside linebacker and rush. If it's him or Rager or one of those kind of guys, man, I'm probably just.
I would take.
Oh, that's bad.
Curry from Ohio State.
What'd you say, Dwayne?
Selection at 136, Cowboys.
Right, so that's a damn good pick, by the way. I'm sorry.
Maybe no audio on the Saints selection here.
Which is poor kid.
The New Orleans Saints select Ryan Slants, wide receiver
Trey's brother
from North Dakota State University.
He's a great kid.
He's a really good player. Bryce Lance, wide receiver.
Probably better quarterback.
Dallas, he needed a quarterback. I don't really get the love for his quarterback in this draft. Because Bryce Lance is left waiting on the football a ton.
Yeah. So if it's defensive line, I don't know. I mean, the only one who seems to make sense to me, there's like two of them, and that'd be Zane Durant and L.T. Overton.
I mentioned Overton a little bit. What about Harris from Ole Miss, the defensive tackle? Didn't they visit with him?
Fair use.
I may just go crazy in a few minutes. In a few seconds, your boy may lose it. The Cowboys may be drafting somebody from Alabama who I not only had on my top 50 last year when he decided to go back into the draft, I had him on my top 50 this year. His name is L.T. Overton. If the Dallas Cowboys draft L.T. Overton, I will be over the moon excited. I, for the life of me, don't understand why this kid is not getting the pub. I didn't put him in my top 20 because everybody dropped off him. But he was in my preseason top 50. And he was in my top 50 last year when I thought he was coming out last year. I don't know what people don't see that I see with LT Overton. So if the Cowboys were to go LT Overton, I know a lot of your content creators will be like, it's a reach, it's a bad pick. I will be over the moon excited if the Dallas Cowboys added LT Overton to this mix. But I would be excited if they added Joshua Josephs to this mix. Now, Marcus Dixon is in there. He's a D-line coach. So that leads you to believe sorry, folks. I'm just trying to see if there's anything out here that's going to give me, because they're not going to make this pick, especially with it being the Dallas Cowboys,
Until TV lineup.
without it being announced. So I'm just trying to see if Jordan Schultz or somebody like that. But the Cowboys did what we all wanted them to do. They went defense. They went one offensive player. And I would say at this point that really the Dallas Cowboy draft is over. I'm very happy, Quentin Ford. I'm very happy right now with who the Dallas Cowboys picked at 137. I'm also very happy who the Miami Dolphins picked at 138. But if Quentin Ford, I don't know that he readily has it available, but you will see the player that is the newest Dallas Cowboy, I had him in my top 50. Questions about LT Overton was, is he a defensive tackle or is he a defensive end? It looks like that's who the Dallas Cowboys are taking, and they're listing him as a D tackle. This kid, man, again, Quentin Ford, can you verify with the people? Not only last year when you asked me for my top 50.
You were on him in September.
But this year, when you asked me about my top 50,
yeah,
LT Overton is in my top 50, folks. Now, again, I don't know what other people see. Maybe they're thinking he put on too much weight. He can't be an end. I don't mind him sliding in the inside. I'm telling you right now, I love this pick for the Dallas Cowboys. And this ain't no hindsight being, I had him in my top 50. Hopefully Quentin Ford will find that and show it to you all. I like this player a lot. I really like what the Dallas Cowboys have done with their defense. You put this kid next to Quentin Williams and Kenny Clark, and you just let him learn, man. You let him learn. Now, I know probably on this war room, they're probably killing the pick.
Tony Romo started in the 5th round and then carried that thing through. So.
In Pittsburgh, they're showing off all the Cowboys.
Look at the film. Look at the film, folks. Look at the film. He's thick. He could go inside. He could stop the run. We need a run, stuff, and edge. He's violent. He's violent. He is. He's better on the inside. They're going to put him on the inside. Jesus, look at that. Where I had
What was
him.
your original 50?
Even in this postseason, preseason, that thing says postseason 925, but preseason, where I had him, I'm at 13. I had him over Keldrick Falk. I'm trying to tell you, I love this kid. I love the kid. And the one knock that people had on him, and they said it on NFL Network, do you play him inside or do you play him outside? You play him inside.
Yeah, I think getting a kid like this, I mean, if you know anything about the Cowboys, they love that versatility. They love the multiple guys, a guy that can play the end, and then sometimes on them big third down packages, be able to get pressure from the tackle position. So at this point in the draft, you want to be able to get guys who could be solid against the run, or definitely when you're talking about an edge, solid against the run, and then occasionally be a guy who could you could get to the quarterback. But it starts with the run first. This is why the Cowboys have the tackles that they have, is because they want to do the same thing with the tackles. So having these edge, one thing that the Dallas Cowboys, from understanding this team in the last few years and understanding what Christian Parker's vision is, a little to an extent that I do, is they want to stop the run. They want to be fast when it comes to pass rush. They want to keep everything in front of them and allow the linebackers to flow. So this is really a really good pick for the Cowboys at this point in the draft. And it's a quality player. Played at a high level of football. One of the things that Dwayne talked about, and we always talk about it when we do our draft show, is what Will McClay's whole objective is: getting a guy from a Power 5 conference who's played a lot of football, who has some starts up under his belt. They're good kids. And these are the type of guys that the Cowboys particularly draft, if you know anything about Will McClay.
So, BB is knocking the pick. He's knocking the pick. He's talking about he doesn't have any get off. He's not going to be a rush guy. He's not a rush guy. Like, people just hear edge and automatically think, oh, a rush guy. He's not a rush guy. You don't need him to be a rush guy. You got
So for now,
you got Gary, you got Barham, you got Lewis, you got rush guys.
so for now, folks, we're gonna close it down.
Well, we're gonna wait to the last pick in the fourth.
No, we don't have to. We don't have to wait. We don't have to wait, Wayne.
Okay.
For now, we're gonna close it down. We'll be back a little later to just hopefully talk about some of the free agents they signed, because we're going to be back probably a little bit after 7. And we'll discuss that. Me and Dwayne will be talking. Me and Dwayne, actually, I'm setting up my phone so I can call Dwayne, actually, you guys. So appreciate you guys always showing up for us.
It was
And
2 hours. It was a nice 2 hours, though. Very
and remember
happy
this,
with what the Dallas Cowboys did.
keep this image in you guys' head of Dwayne's top 3, Dwayne's day 3 availability. We'll discuss some stuff later. And give us some final words to leave off the show, Dwayne.
When I'm thinking about defense, man, with the type of offense that the Dallas Cowboys plays, if this defense can go from 30 to like 15, they're real contenders. We'll see you later.
Deep fried. North Jersey, I'm the new Messiah. Yeah, I heard your man live, buddy, where, why? Get it? Live, buddy, where, why? Daddy get him packed in the trunk like a spare tire. Got me in the booth smoking gas, about to start a fire. Had to double back.